Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a hell of a show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to check out the DREAMERSPRO podcast that we have pinned in the comment section below. Now, this topic is something that I wanted to get to. I think I spoke about it briefly. But then something came up this morning where I came across some more information, and I was like, okay, now this would probably be an interesting moment to discuss it. So what are we talking about? We are referring to the comments that Paul Pierce made on Undisputed when he was there with Keyshawn Johnson and Skip Bayless, where they were essentially reacting to the comments that Rudy Gobert had to make, where he essentially sent the message to the league like, listen, if you're not going to protect me from being hard fouled and all of this stuff, then I'm going to protect myself. So they brought his comments to the panel on Undisputed, and they were weighing in on what he had to say. So I think in that segment, Paul Pierce went first. And when Paul Pierce was discussing it, he essentially said that, listen, Rudy, you're not a tough guy. You're soft. And a lot of American players view European players as soft. Like, you guys are sweet. You eat pastries, right? So for those of you who didn't hear what Paul Pierce had to say, that's what we want to get into. But before we even get into his comments, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is really simple. Instead of just selecting a team, you just select two or more players, pick more or less their projected stats, and then you place your entry. For example, this week, I'm selecting two entries. Stephen Curry for more than 25 points, and then I got Anthony Davis for more than 2 blocks, and Damian Lillard for more than 4 3-pointers made. PrizePicks is also the only daily sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So for example, if you have a player who gets injured in the first half and doesn't return to the second half, that player gets automatically rebooted. What I also love about PrizePicks is that it offers weekly promotions like Taco Tuesdays. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit matchup up to $100. That's go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. And once again, once you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is want to play what Paul Pierce had to say to give this video some context, to show some context, and then we're going to come back and continue on. Take a listen to what Paul Pierce had to say here.
Let me tell you something, Skip. The NBA, nobody considers the European players tough, especially a player from France.
Oh,
it's the truth.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in other sports, but nobody, no American players are respecting a tough guy from France. It's just, or Europe in general, you know, they're nice people. They like pastries. They're friendly.
Oh, God, Paul, stop. Wembanyama is going to be in that same.
Right now, that's my perception of Wemby.
Okay.
He's not just a tough guy. I mean, he speak a sexy language.
Let me stop.
That's
you
just
get in trouble. Let me.
You know, it's just not something we respect as a tough guy.
Yeah.
You know, and then I just seen Rudy Gobert get choked out from Draymond. Like, I've never seen him. What he's going to have to do, you know what he's going to have to do? Rudy's going to have to make an example out of somebody for him to believe him. Yeah, you're a defensive player of the year, but that's not intimidating nobody. You know, like when I see Draymond grab you by the neck, you 7'2", and you get grabbed by Draymond who's 6'5" and dragged.
Would you ever let Draymond grab you? I'm just asking.
Listen. I'm going to let anybody drag me.
I'm just asking you.
I'm going to let somebody drag him.
I'm just asking you.
Would you let anybody drag you by the neck?
Drag you?
No.
No.
This was a classic case of
I'm just asking Paul.
So when I hear Rudy Gobert come out with these words, I know guys around the league just kind of laughing. Like, man, you know,
so
whatever, man. Come on.
So you heard Paul Pierce's original comments. Now, I want to quickly clear up something. Originally, when we posted about this on our community section of our channel, some people tried to use the excuse of, nah, he wasn't talking about Europeans. What he was talking about was European players. he wasn't talking about Europeans. He was just talking about European players. Like, people be, I don't know, some people, I don't know. But what those people were trying to do was spin it. What he was really saying was, these guys are soft because of the country they come from. That is what he was clearly saying. He spoke plain English. He's saying these guys are soft because of their country of origin. Hence, he started bringing up their language. Hence, he started bringing up the way they eat the food that they eat. Hence, he started talking about they have the Romance language and all of how the language sound. That's what he was saying. So let's stop with the not like. Let's stop, right? So what happened this morning? Was doing some research and I came across an audio of Kevin Garnett, who was Paul Pierce's former teammate in Boston and in Brooklyn, where KG was essentially reacting to the things that Paul Pierce said, and he was talking to him in person, and he said, "Listen, bro, you gotta be careful what you're saying, and you wrong for that. Like, you wrong for that." So, for those of you who didn't hear Kevin Garnett speak to Paul Pierce about what he said to his face, I want to play what KG had to say to Paul Pierce here, and then we're going to come back and react to what Kevin Garnett said to Paul Pierce. Take a listen to that.
Man, I'll be eating French fries all day.
I do too, but it don't mean I'm out here calling them out.
Let me see one of them run up.
There's some tough French ass out here. I understood what you were saying because I know you what the point you was making.
Was I not right though? No, keep it 100. Like, you could ask any NBA player.
No, I got you.
We look at European players as being soft. That's the
narrative.
That's what we perceive of them, right?
That's the narrative.
Whether it's true or not, that's what we
believe.
Yeah. So that's all that way. It wasn't no knock on Rudy or not. That's any European player we look at like, oh, they soft. Now, are some tough? Hell yeah, y'all tough, but they perceived as being soft. And that's 100%. It ain't just me. You can ask anybody in the league.
That's the perception of European players.
That's the perception. That it ain't nothing about. It's just their personality come off as, they don't come off as like no enforcers. I ain't seeing them get in nobody's face. They don't really yell. That's not their culture. That's American culture when we grow up in the hood playing in the streets, talking shit. And just like, what's up? You might turn into a fight in the park. Like, they not coming from that.
Now, Europeans come from some real shit. They come from a war, bro. They coming from walking to school in the war, bombs and all type. I'm being dead ass, bro. I'm talking about Serbians. I'm talking about the Croatians. I'm talking about some of these foreign places that, man, these kids.
It ain't got nothing to do with what they've been through. It's just how they perceive.
Man, you putting it like American players come under some type of different cloth when, listen to me. Like, we come under some different cloth when European players coming under a whole different way of life, bro. When you start digging through their past, and I play with a bunch of,
I get it.
International players, they're soft to the point to where we're saying they're not aggressive.
Yeah.
As American players, they're aggressive. They're not like pushovers or no like that. And I think that's what the assumption comes off when you say, non-aggressive or whatever. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, they like pastries. You know what I'm saying?
You start calling grown men like adjectives.
No, I'm saying, I said they like pastries, dog. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that.
See, look, you poking
ain't nothing wrong
bro.
with that, dog.
See, you call
the cannolis, what you call it? They like
cannolis.
Cannolis.
That's a goofy though. You know what I'm saying? Goofy ass cannoli.
Cannoli.
Right.
Oh, that's
you out here calling pastry.
No, I'm saying, come on, dog.
So you heard what KG had to say. What are my honest opinions on this? I'm beginning to realize that we rub some viewers, some people the wrong way. And I think I understand the reason why we're beginning to rub some people the wrong way. At least I am. I am someone that has had a plethora of experiences growing up, right? I've lived in various places around the world, so I have more of a global perspective. And people that don't have this global perspective will either be interested to hear it, or they will just basically try to shun it because they can't understand it. I was born in Washington, D.C. Year and a half, I moved to Sierra Leone. You don't know where that is? You can open up a map. Stayed there till I was about 4 or 5, I don't remember. Then I moved back to D.C. Stayed in D.C. Then in junior high, I moved up to New York, the Bronx to be specific. Did my junior high year, went to school in Manhattan, of my high school, went to art and design. Then I eventually moved from the Bronx to Yonkers. If you don't know where Yonkers is, you can also hit up Google. Then around after high school, I then moved to Italy, stayed in Italy for some years and came back to New York, then moved back to Italy, and I stayed in Turin and I stayed in Rome. During my time in Italy, been in different places, a lot of different places, Naples and all of that, right? And then I moved to Nigeria. So I have a global view of these things, and I met many different people from around the world. So I'm not going to see it the way the typical person would see it, and nor do I care to. I want to see it the way I see it, and I'm not going to apologize for seeing it the way I see it. I'm me, right? You could be you, and I'm going to be me. In the case of what Paul Pierce said, Paul Pierce is not serious. Paul Pierce can't be serious. Paul Pierce is talking about Europeans are soft. Then Kevin Garnett brought up the examples of wars and all of this turmoil that they've been in. Only a person that's never been anywhere outside of the tourist areas in Europe will say something like this. So Paul Pierce go to Europe. Where do you think Paul Pierce be going to? Honestly, where do you think Paul Pierce goes to? Where? Paul Pierce and his team traveled to Rome in 2007, 2008. I know the Boston Celtics. Where do you think they stayed in Rome? Where do you think they stayed? I know exactly where they stayed. They stayed near Termini, which is like Grand Central Station or whatever, which is in the heart of one of the most touristic areas in the world. Where did Paul Pierce go in Italy for him to know anything about any tough people in Italy? Where? That's like somebody going to New York or going to the States and seeing a bunch of tourists and going to the touristy areas like, man, these people here are soft. Really? You went to where the tourists are. Did you go to anywhere where there was action? Hell no. Number one. Number two, anybody saying that Europeans are soft is a damn fool. He or she is a total fool. They're a misinformed fool. Who in their... Do you see what's happening between Russia and Ukraine? Do you know that you have common citizens going to war? I didn't talk about going to go fight somebody down the block. I'm not talking about going to go shoot at somebody down the block. Y'all are talking about that bullshit. That's what you're talking about. We're talking about people that actually go to war. We're talking about countries that have citizens that are hardened by war. Not civil issues, by war. War. I went to school in Italy. I went to school to an international school. I've been around Albanians. I've been around Serbians. Them people ain't know, of all the people that I've met, Serbians are the most, not aggressive, but those you don't want to mess with those dudes. Who in their right mind wants to mess with a Serbian? Who? Unless you're an idiot. Who? Them dudes ain't no joke. They're no joke. And if you share the sentiments of Paul Pierce and you go to one of their countries, believe you're going to be up out of here in a minute. Because number one, you're in their country. You're in their country. You're in their country. So anybody saying this has probably never traveled anywhere. Anywhere. You're talking about their language? Yeah, Italian is one of the most beautiful languages in the world. What exists in Italy? What exists in Italy? We all know what it is. Some of y'all are calling it the, what is it? Somebody called it the, I forgot the name that they called it. But you better believe they're real. You better believe they're real. So anybody talking about, oh, they soft, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Those people are not soft. A lot of those people know how to use weapons professionally because some of them get trained they have to go through army training. Where in America do they send you where it's mandatory for you to do army service? Where? That is mandatory that you must do service for your country. I didn't say you need to think about it. I said it's mandatory. How do you think all of these people in Ukraine are defending themselves? Where do you think they learned how to use all of those weapons? Where do you think they're learning it from? So anybody saying that Europeans are soft and all of this, they're not serious. They're not serious. And this is how people get got. This is how you mess around and find out thinking that you're the only tough guy on the block and then you go somewhere else and you get got. That's usually how it happens. Underestimating people because you're looking at some NBA players. What he's saying is people from these countries are soft. All right. Take that mentality, jump on a plane, start going to these countries and run around telling these people they soft, and you gonna find out. You will find out in a quick minute if they soft or not. You'll find out. These people go to the tourist areas in these countries. That's like somebody that's from Italy, they go to California or they're in Beverly Hills, and they're like, wow, man, these people are so friendly. Wow, look at them, they're so nice. But you ain't been to Compton, you ain't been to Watts, you ain't been to any of those neighborhoods, and you're like, oh, look, they're so soft, they're so friendly, look at them, they're all eating ice cream and they're happy. All right, keep messing around and you're gonna find out. That's crazy. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments and we catch you on the next show. Peace.